What's up, everybody? I'm going to wait for some of you to come on here, and then we're going to get going with No BS Wednesday. Let's see. Andrea, what's up? You're the first one on. How are you doing? And since you're the first one on, Andrea, can you hear me? I'm trying out something different as well again tonight. So, yes, ready for No BS. What's up, Ben? How are you doing? You and Andrea so far? Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Yes or no? All right. Yes, a little fuzzy. Okay. All right, but you can hear me. Okay. We're going to get into this. So basically, perfect. Awesome, Amy. Thank you. So we're going to get into 6 different questions. I tagged some of you. Andrea, I tagged you. Ben, I tagged you because I'm going to answer some of these specific questions tonight. Little fuzzy. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. It's streaming off my phone. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me just make sure all my connections are good. And then we're going to get rolling. Okay. Well, we'll have to deal with the fuzziness. I'm not sure what's going on my phone, but anyway, we're going to basically go right into this, and you're so excited and maybe the mic is too close. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right, I'll talk a little bit softer. I get very, very easily excited, so especially when I'm talking about this stuff. So if you guys can just bear with me, let's do it. I'm using a new mic that's obviously a little bit more sensitive than some of the other stuff. So, all right. So number 1 was a really, really good question by you, Andrea, and when, how, and why to choose a business coach. And this is a good question to kick it off. This is a good question to immediately start off with. One thing, never talk softer. I can't talk softer. It's just simply not possible. Christine, thank you for joining us. When, how, and why to choose a business coach. When, how, and why to choose a business coach. If I had to do it all over again, I can tell you guys how I went about it. If I had to do it all over again, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe that choosing a business coach that I felt like I aligned with from the very beginning could have helped my practice to take off a lot sooner. But I'm happy at the same time that I've gone through everything that I've been through because it's helped me grow as a physical therapist. It's helped me grow as a business owner. But I do realize that there are some things that I could have cut down on time in order to get to success if I were to have a business coach. I hired a business coach about 3 months into my practice. I was kind of directionless, without a better word to say. I was purely directionless, and I really was trying to find, okay, I need somebody that knows the business side of things that can guide me in the right direction. So I actually hired a good friend of mine named Matt. His name's Matt Phillips. He's a motivational speaker here in Denver, and really has helped me quite a bit. You know, even with speaking skills, I've learned a ton from him. But hiring him was one of the greatest decisions that I made. And when and how and why. One of the how, I think, is a good question. So I'm going to answer that real quick. I think the how is you really need to find a business coach that you align with and that you feel like you gel with. I cannot tell you guys how important this is. Oh, we got some people rolling in. Thank you guys for watching. But the how is, who do you align with? And who do you see eye to eye with? And who can you honestly, this has always been important for me. And you guys choose however you see fit for this. But it's always been important for me to say, do I feel like I have enough of a connection with them that I would absolutely love to go sit down and have a beer with them and just talk and just chat. For me, I've always had to feel like I I gel with that person. So I think it's really been important for me when I talk to them, but then also when I meet with a business coach in person, that I've really got to feel like I jive with that person if I'm going to give them my money. Because I think that's just so important in the long term. And then second, you always want to coach. This was learned the long way for me, Andrea. Not the long way, the very, very hard way. Lots of money and time put into this, and maybe not the best business coaches were chosen in the beginning. We'll just leave it that way. But basically, the mistake that I made was this business coach was in no way interested in what I was looking to do long term for my business. They were only interested in telling me what I needed to do that they have done, and they were in no way ever interested in, okay, what is my vision for the business, and then helping you guide you to that. And so that's why me as a business coach, I feel like that's why I've kind of poured my heart into making sure that my students understand that we need to have a vision, and we need to go towards that vision. I'm here to guide you along that journey. So I've kind of shaped and molded myself and my coaching technique because of some of the bad experiences that I've had in the past. And then why? I think I've already answered that, Andrea. I think it's simply to guide you and continue to push you in the right direction, because here's the big thing. We all may think that we have accountability. We all may think that we have discipline, but starting your own business is its own new animal. And it's very, very difficult, and having somebody on your side that can guide you along that journey can be extremely beneficial. I feel you on that. Do you find that best outside the PT sphere? I can't really say that. I can't really say yes or no to that, to be honest with Andrea, because I've had a ton of coaches in the PT realm, and I currently have a coach in the physical therapy realm, and I could not be more happy with my current coach. So I think if they can relate to you, that's great. But sometimes outside of the PT realm is great too, as long as they understand our industry, as long as they understand and are willing to learn and understand our industry. So I think that's pretty fair. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Andrea. I'm gonna move on because we've got 6 questions. If you guys have any other questions on that, please let me know. Hey, the 5 of you watching, could you just please give a like or a heart or a comment? I want more people in the group to be able to see these, because these are some really, really good questions. We're going to get into some pretty deep stuff with some of these questions. Number 2, what is a good hourly wage to pay a very part-time bookkeeper? Karen Malone asked this question. So Karen, I kind of have a short answer for you. I don't really know. This is no BS Wednesday, right? So I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't really know. I was currently told by my accountant, they just offered me that with the amount of work that they would have to do, the amount of work they would have to put into it, I'm not the best bookkeeper myself. They basically offered me $600 a month to take care of all of my accounting needs. I thought that was a little steep. So if I had to choose hourly wage, honestly, I'm not really sure, okay? But, if I find one out, I will make sure to reach out to you, Karen. If you guys, any of you out there know any good hourly rates for accountants, I would love to know. But up until this point, I'll let you guys know. I've done my own accounting, and it is not that difficult. I promise you, it's really, really not. All you have to do is just keep track of your business expenses, which honestly, when we're starting a mobile practice, we shouldn't have that much business expenses anyway. So it's been very, very simple for me to track, and here's the way to track it. All you have to do, set up a business bank account with your bank, and then make sure that the only time that you use that business bank account is for all expenses. Use that for every single expense that you have in your practice, and your online banking can basically be your accounting. I print up my statements at the end of the month, and I'll do expenses, and I'll do deposits, which are incoming revenue. I'll do those two. I'll split those two. I'll highlight all the important ones. I'll give them to my CPA. I'll add them all up for her and make it all look pretty, and boom. There it is. Done with my taxes. it actually is very, very simple. I honestly don't feel like I've reached a point even yet in my practice, even yet now that it's reached six figures, that I feel like I actually need an accountant. But if it's something that you feel like you just really, really want, then I would go for it. But the only feedback that I can give you is my current CPA and their accounting firm offered me $600 a month. So I don't know. Take that or leave it. Number 3, can you register your vehicle as a commercial vehicle? If so, any benefits, any concerns? So I have talked to my CPA about this. The main thing that she has told me, and she's actually advised me not to do so, and I'll explain why. She did say that she advised me to be an S Corp if I was going to do so. And then in regards to a commercial vehicle, you have to make sure that that vehicle is only being used for those specific purposes. And if you have a commercial vehicle for your business, especially a solo person business, you are more likely to get audited as well. I didn't like that part. And then another one, not that I have anything to hide, but shoot, I don't want to. I don't want to go through an audit. That's just such a pain in the ass. That's one negative. And then another negative, if you were to get into a wreck anywhere out there, that a person has the ability to then sue you as a company. Whereas as a personal individual, obviously our insurance covers that. So if you don't have the proper insurances in regards to your business vehicle, you can then have different things be placed upon you, like somebody could actually sue your company. So that means that you'd have to get obviously better insurance. I think there's even commercial business insurance. There's a lot that goes into it, so it's not quite as simple as just putting your vehicle as a commercial vehicle under your business and then reaping the benefits. There's actually a lot that goes into it, so I would highly suggest otherwise, but please talk to your CPA about it and see what they think. That's what my CPA seems to think. She's a pretty damn smart lady. So, I don't know. You guys take it and leave it on that as well. So, but this is no BS. I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I think, and you guys let me know what you guys think. Any thoughts on that at all before we keep going? Have any of you guys out there, the 7 of you watching, any of you guys out there, have you thought about making your vehicle a commercial vehicle for your business? And then let me add one more thing, actually. So actually, my CPA advised that I took my magnets off of my car. And so let me talk on that real quick. I had magnets with my logo, call me at this number. I had my message on there. I help busy executives to achieve physical freedom in the comfort of their own home or office. I had that plastered on the side of the car. It was great. Never had a single call from it though. And my CPA saw it. She's a good lady. And she was like, hey, I would advise you to take that off. Because again, if you were to even get in a fender bender, there is a possibility that somebody could pose actions against you because you're a business. So that's why I kind of don't really like even the magnets on the side of the car. You're most likely not going to get a call from that anyway. Have you guys ever seen some of these cars with the wraps around them and they've got their numbers on them? I want you all 6 of you that are watching, all 7 of you that are watching, have any of you ever called that number on the car? Have any of you followed that car and been like, oh man, I need to get that number? I never have. I personally have never have, and I don't know anybody that ever has. So I think it's honestly a waste of time to put a magnet on a car. But then again, it leads you into some liability issues that I'm just like, hey, I like to keep my business simple. I don't need any of that. So that's the answer to number 3. Hope that helps you, Letitia. Thank you for the question, though. Number 4, how to talk with patients and clients about why they should pay cash for our services, that they could use insurance benefits to pay at a clinic. Man. So this is a big one right here. Some of you may have heard me talk about this, but let's cover it. Let's cover it now because this is something that's going to come up for every single one of you, is that you're going to deal with the question of, why should I use your service over somebody else's? Have you why should I use your service when I could have it reimbursed by insurance? If any of you have started your practices and if you had that question, give me a yes or give me a pound in the comments. I just want to know who I'm talking to here. If any of you had that question, put the hands up emoji. But have you had the question of how, what makes your service? Yeah, Keats, most definitely. I know you have. You've been out there grinding, building your practice. I know you've had that question. Andrea probably had that question. Okay, so here's the simple, and then we're gonna go into a little bit of a side tangent on this as well. Okay, so here's the simple answer. When you're on the phone, we'll start with on the phone. When you're on the phone with somebody, the most simple thing to do is if they bring up insurance, is you deflect it immediately. And it's not being rude, but I wanna come back to why you do that for a second. So first, hey Josh, I just wanted to know if you took insurance for your practice. May I ask who's calling? Kathy. Okay, great. Kathy, can I ask you why you're calling my practice? Is there something specific that you're dealing with right now? Yes, I'm actually dealing with this, and this. Sometimes they can even sound a little bit hurried because they just want to know what the insurance is, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And I always tell them, Kathy, I'm going to answer your insurance question, but I just want to know first if you're a good fit for my practice. What exactly do you have going on? And then they usually, people never turn down the opportunity to tell you about their ailments and what they're currently going through. Everybody loves talking about that. It seems the older that you get, the more that you like to talk about your ailments. So that's at least what I've seen. So you ask that question and nobody's ever going to turn you down. Yeah. So I have this going on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great, Kathy. So I want to come back to your insurance question. I do not take insurance, but based on what you told me, I truly believe I could help you to get over that problem. Would you like to set up an evaluation and get something on the books and see and we could at least meet in person and let me see in person, I could evaluate you and see if I could help you and guide you in the right direction. Would that be of interest to you? Oh, that'd be great. Or no, I really want to use my insurance. That's great. One thing that I always try and do and tell the people that if they are just dead set on their insurance after I go through that process over the phone, then I simply say, hey, that's great. I've got a clinic that actually I can refer you to. Where are you at? Okay, you're in Lakewood, Colorado. Perfect. I know a clinic in that area because I've made relationships with a lot of different physical therapy clinics in the area. So I'm like, hey, why don't you go to Belmar PT? I know great things about them, and I actually know physical therapists that work there. And then like that, you guys have no idea how much just doing that for somebody, it's clearly helping them. But then again, it's also helping your expertise level. If they ever have any questions, you never know. They could come back to you eventually because you simply just decided to help them out. So I never really, if I get a phone call, I never spend too much time. I ask them what they're going through. First, I deflect the question. I ask them what they're going through. And then I figure that out, and then I talk to them a little bit about that, and then I always come back around to their insurance question and address it. And if they're still hung up on insurance after all of that, then hey, I've got a place that you can go, or you would like to set up a visit. That's great. Let's get something on the books, and I can't wait to meet you. Boom, done with that. Now, it's a little bit different in person, and I usually get the question a little bit more in person on that first visit, on that evaluation, or even if you gave somebody a free evaluation. Now they want to know your price and they want to figure out their entire situation and your the insurance. My answer to that is if you are getting this question, and this is part of No BS Wednesday. Yeah, I'll answer that in a second, Christine. If you are getting this question after your evaluation, this one's going to sting a little bit. If you're getting this question after your evaluation, you are not showing them enough value. If you're getting this question after your evaluation, after your first assessment, you have not thoroughly sold them on your service. They should be so thoroughly sold on your service after your evaluation if you're going through the right process, which, believe me, it's taken me a long time to get there. But if they're going through the right process and you're showing them the value, that should not be a question at the end. If you say that you don't take insurance, okay, that's fine. So what do you cost? It's whatever it is, but I'm going to be able to get you there. So if you're constantly constantly getting that question at the end of an evaluation, there's something wrong with your sales process. And honestly, I've started to call an evaluation your sales process because I truly believe that's what it is for us PTs. Just not enough of us look at it that way and actually look at it like, okay, how can I improve that process to guide a patient to wanting to set up a plan of care with me at the end of that evaluation visit? So Christine, I hope that helps. I want to answer your other question. How, do you ever do or recommend a discovery session complimentary? I've been recommending this for a long time. Not only discovery sessions, I do free evaluations, and there's so many PTs that say, "Oh, this is terrible. Don't do this. Don't do this." But my question is, on average, my patients spend $2,200 on a plan of care. So if I'm giving away a free evaluation when I know I have a proven process to go in place that they're going to be fully bought in after that first evaluation process, I know that I have that process in place. So if I give them a free full 1 hour evaluation and I'm confident that that person is going to sign up for a plan of care that could be worth $2,000, would you guys give away a free evaluation as well? I think that's where we need to be more as clinicians. We need to see the evaluation as a sales process and as a process that we can guide our patients through to help make the sale, which, remember, it's not all about making the money. If you make that sale with that patient, if you help them through a process in your evaluation to have them dedicate themselves to a long-term plan of care that's actually going to help them, and you're doing 1 hour one-on-one visits that's going to help them a heck of a lot more than the clinic down the street, then you have an absolute obligation to sell them on that. I talked about this with my coaching group last night on one of our coaching calls. I said, you have to give that person that you're talking to so much conviction that they're like, I know this guy will help me. Like, he's so convicted at what he's going to give me. He has so much conviction that at the end, your patients are just like, yeah, let's do this thing. I have confidence in you now because you have so much confidence. You know, sometimes they'll even say that. Like, so conviction can lead to a sale. And this is another kind of another side tangent, but we have to basically convict our patient, have so much conviction, which means we believe in our product so freaking much that it will actually upset me and make me stay up at night if I don't sell my product to somebody, because I know it's a hell of a lot better than anything else that they can receive in there, except for maybe some of the business owners that have helped start their practices in Denver. Like, that's how much conviction I feel like we have to have, and it's taken me a long time to get there. Like, I've dealt with confidence issues. I've dealt with self-esteem issues all along this way, but it's not until I've gotten to that point of complete conviction in what I'm doing that I've been able to say with like 99% certainty when I go into that evaluation, I know this patient's going to come out with a good result, and I'm going to help them to see that. I know that's a lot more than you asked for, Christine, and that may be a bit overwhelming, so I'm happy to expand more if you would like. But let me know if you've got any questions on kind of what I said. I want to interact with you guys here a little bit. So great question, though, Christine. All right, next. All right, this is another big one. How were your first 6 months when you started? Posed by Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for the question. How were your first 6 months when you started? My first 6 months, let's just be real on this again. Let's be 100% real. My first 6 months were an extreme struggle. I'll go ahead and tell you guys that, and I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about why and why you should expect the same in your practice. It's just not, there is no clear-cut way. You could have the most, you could have the most amazing Facebook ad. You could have the most amazing marketing technique. You could have the most amazing whatever. And no matter what, your first 6 months in a business is always going to give you struggles and tribulations. But that's what makes you a better business owner. So what I say for all of you before I get into the first 6 months is you need to, if you're just starting your business, you need to welcome that struggle and just know that it's going to happen. It's going to turn you into a better business owner. If you just go from zero from week 1 to 6 months, and you just have complete success, I will tell you that I think you're not going to be as good of a business owner as you could have been. It's a struggle no matter what. Lots of people in my coaching group are understanding that it's hard work. But it's so rewarding. So again, Andrew, no BS. My first 6 months, they were a complete struggle, but it was the most liberating and freeing 6 months of my entire life. And now I'm coaching people on this, and I couldn't be happier on what I'm doing, right? Like, my first 6 months were a complete struggle, but they were absolutely liberating and freeing at the exact same time. So when I first went to part-time home health, that was my first move. I had about 1 or 2 clients on the side that basically I had kept connections with from another home health company. And when I went to my next home health company, I went part-time with them. I was doing about 15 visits a week for them to bring in a little bit of income for myself. And then I was seeing those 1 and 2 clients on the side. So you guys can imagine, you go from a 40-hour-a-week physical therapy job or a home health position like I was to now cutting that in half and then only having 1 or 2 clients. I got to this point in the first few weeks where I was just like, oh my gosh, I've got so much time. What do I even do with it? Where do I even go? What do I do? And I fumbled my fingers and I fumbled around. There were times where I was like, all right, and some of you may be going through this. I would be like, all right, I'm going to schedule out 3 hours and I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to sit down with a cup of coffee and I'm just going to like do something. Like I didn't even know what I was going to do. I was like some of you, I was just like, oh, I can like learn like these Facebook ads and I'm going to learn all this stuff. And I would sit down and 3 hours would pass and I would honestly be like, what the hell did I just do? What did I do? I have zero direction. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fumbling around because I have no business experience and I don't know what I'm doing. I have zero idea of what I'm doing. So I actually figured this out a little bit by myself, but I said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing online yet. That's fine. But one thing I do know is that I'm good at developing relationships with people. I'm good at connecting with people. I'm a relationship person. I love taking action. I love meeting new people. And I was like, okay, there it is. Screw the coffee shops, screw the online stuff. All I'm going to do is just focus on personal relationships and building those. So that's what I did. I got out there. I started building relationships. I've told you guys in other live streams, I went to every event I could possibly find. I've told you guys about my story of being thrust out on the stage at that pitch event. I went to a pitch event, which they kind of stared at me strangely that a physical therapist was like pitching his practice. It's like, they were almost at that time before I had dialed in my practice. They were like, what makes this so special? Okay, he's mobile, that's great, but what makes him so special? I clearly didn't win that event, but I went to all these different events and met entrepreneurs, met business owners, went to networking groups, went to storefronts, went to CrossFit gyms. I was kind of shooting blindly, and so I've learned a lot of that from that experience as well, as to what you can actually do in your practice if you have specific direction. So back to your specific question, Andrea, in the beginning, that's what I feel like a coach can do from the very beginning. Like giving direction to a practice and telling you, hey, this is all you need to focus on your marketing is extremely, again, freeing and liberating to say, okay, I've got a direct path. I've got a guy in my business coaching group right now that basically has said, I went like 2 years without knowing what the heck I was doing. And now 4 weeks into coaching, I know exactly what my path is. And you have no idea how a good feeling that is. And I do know because I've been there in that first 6 months. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no direction because I didn't have a business coach. And I just was doing everything from the hip and I was struggling. And so it wasn't until I started to dial things in and realized that I needed to act off of my strength of building connections with other people that I started to gain a little bit of traction. And I started to hit up different doctors in the area. I started to hit up different places in the area that I could see clients that I like to see. I started to go to shared office spaces all around town and doing free events there, free talks, free workshops. I started going everywhere and just trying to get my voice out there. I was, my wife hated this time, Andrew. I'll go ahead and tell you. My wife hated this time because I become obsessed when I get into this mode. And I was obsessed with growing this business that I was even going to happy hours, like entrepreneurial happy hours, business happy hours, everything I could get my hands on. When somebody would tell me in conversation, hey, there's going to be this business happy hour, you should come. Absolutely done. I'll be there. Was it Wednesday at 8 p.m.? Boom, got it. I'll be there. And I was just like constantly building these relationships. And that's actually how I met that motivational speaker, Mr. Matt Phillips, and how we started that. Then he started to guide me as a business coach, and that's when things really started to come together and start take off in a more linear pattern. So that's kind of the truth to my first 6 months. It was a huge struggle, but at the same time, just like most of you will figure out, it was so liberating and so freeing at the same time. So I hope that answers your question, Andrew. If you guys have any questions about what it's like in the 6 months, I'd love to answer. You guys have any thoughts on that? Drop me a comment with how it was like in your first 6 months. Or if you're not there yet, drop a comment in the comment. Nervous about your 6 months, your first 6 months. Number 6. Last question here, guys. This is posed by Mr. Ben Britton. Do you need business liability insurance even though it's mobile, or can you have individual malpractice insurance? So this question is a good one. Lots of people ask me this question. I truly believe that all you need to start is individual malpractice insurance. Now, because individual malpractice insurance is obviously going to save you a ton of money in the beginning. And I truly just don't feel like you need the business malpractice insurance until you grow. Once you start growing and you have cash flow, sure, you can spend it on the business malpractice insurance, and especially once you hire an employee, that's really, really important to do, is fork up the money for business liability insurance. But if you're solo in your practice, personal liability insurance is going to cover you just fine. And then, Ben, I know you and Peter are actually going together in your business. I still think from the very, very start, you guys just need patience. So I mean, I think personal liability insurance, individual liability insurance covering each one of you is probably what you need to get started. We start getting some patience in there, some cash flow, then we can put it into business liability insurance. I'm honestly, guys, I'm all about starting this thing. I think they call it bootstrapping approach. I don't know. I think that's like the entrepreneur term, but it's basically using the least amount of money possible to get this thing up and running, because the number one thing that I see is there's too much money spent, crazy amounts of money spent on website, crazy amounts of money spent on this, crazy amounts of money spent on equipment, crazy amounts of money spent on something, on documentation systems. And I've seen that a lot, and it's just like, man, it's not necessary. You do not have a business until you have patience. Remember that. Please remember that. Even though you may have a business structure in place and you may have all these cutesy things in place, you don't have a business until you have patience in the door. Then you have a business. Then we can start talking about, okay, what's next steps? But we got to start getting cash flow to be considered a real business and to be considering some of those bigger steps. I understand that a lot of people want to make sure they've got all their ducks in a row, but from what I've seen, personal liability insurance will cover you just fine. So Ben, I hope that answers your question. Guys, I don't know why I'm not seeing any questions here. I have a feeling you guys are asking some, but I'm not seeing them. It's driving my phone. These iPhones drive me nuts sometimes. But I can't see any questions. I'm so sorry. I can go back and answer them later for you guys, but I hope this has been helpful. Those were kind of the answers to those 6 questions. And you guys, please reach out to me personally as well. If you've got further questions to dive deeper, please let me know. I love this stuff and I love answering your guys' questions. My screen is frozen, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I will actually go off the live, and then I'll come back on just to answer any questions that you guys might have, because it's only 6:30 my time at least. I've got plenty of time to answer you guys' questions. So again, my screen's frozen though, so let's Let's figure this thing out, and I'll answer you guys' questions. So stay on. I'll be on in 2 seconds.